Hello, everyone. Another Monday and another easy happy hour. That's every Monday between 2 and 3 p.m. We're still in the topic series Easy Fundamental Refresher. And basically, we are trying to cover different ways and approaches how to access Easy. Today's session is about how have you met the Easy command line interface? That is something new. We haven't covered that earlier, neither in Easy Happy Hours, nor in the webinar series last year. So just as a reminder, this session is being recorded in case anyone wants to discuss anything more informal about Easy. We will stop the recording at the end. So feel free to share any experience you have with Easy. Another highlight for today. So there is the second webinar series in the EFV Federation Software Catalog, and that's happening on the 25th of February. If I'm not sure if you can still register, but you can see the link on the screen. There is also the Euro HPC Summit 2026. That's in between March 10 and 12th in Paphos, Cyprus. Also the 11th EasyBuild user meeting between 21st and 23rd of April at the home of Deucalion, and the ISC 26 conference in Hamburg between 22nd and 26th of June. And maybe something indirectly related also to Easy. So there was a new release of EasyBuild yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, right, Kenneth?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Well, on Friday, actually. Yeah.
On Friday, yeah. So that's also something to mention here. And basically, in previous sessions, we have covered different ways to access Easy. So we have already covered the recommended way, that is the native installation of CernVMFS. We covered accessing Easy through the Easy container script using the CVMFS exec tool. And last session, we also saw that we can access Easy using the shrink-wrap utility, CVMFS shrink-wrap utility, that gives us the possibility of accessing Easy even offline. And now, for today's session, we will see the Easy command line interface, and I will hand the session to you, Kenneth.
Yes. Okay. Let me set up the screen share. You'll have to give me permission for that, Richard.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let me turn off notifications. All right. So the Easy command line tool is something new. It's an idea I've actually had for a long time already. My main motivation for this is that the instructions we have here for using Easy, assuming that Easy is already available, so you have access to the repository here, the first step is to set up your environment to start using Easy. And I've always been a bit annoyed that this is this long path that you have to remember, or that you have to know where these scripts are that you can source, that detect what type of CPU you have and change your module path and basically prepare the session for using Easy. So my idea was to have a command line tool that helps you with this. It gives you an easy command that you can it's implemented in Python, so you can just do a pip install easy in a virtual environment or system-wide or in your user account, whatever makes sense. And then you have an easy tool to play with. I have this prepared here. So here we have an initial implementation of an easy command, version 0.11. This is essentially the result of a hackathon we did before FOSDEM in Brussels. In 1 or 2 days, we cooked up a first version of this, which already has some of the subcommands we have in mind. So an easy check, an easy init, and an easy shell. The easy init is pretty stupid, although this was the initial trigger for the tool. all it does is print out text, and it just tells you you can run this to set up your easy environment. So at least down, you don't have to remember. It tells you, and if you run it like this, let me see if I can mess this up. Yeah, if you run it like this, you actually land in an environment where easy is already set up, and you can check which modules are available. So at least now you don't have to remember by heart. You can just take the output that easy init produces, evaluate it, and then your session is set up for you. But very quickly, let me start the session again. Very quickly, we realized this could also do other things, and some other things are already implemented. Like one thing is a subcommand to create a subshell in which easy is available. So rather than changing your current shell that you're in, you create a subshell, and this requires that I specify which easy version I want to use. So it has an option for this. So if we say, let's give me a subshell for easy 2506, it then starts the subshell, does the init for you. And here we're now in an environment where we can start loading modules and start using the software. The nice thing about this is it's a subshell, so you can just exit this and you're back to a clean environment where there's no surprises. It's not as nice as being able to roll back with the LMOD modules we have for easy, but it is useful. So those are two pretty simple examples. There is another thing, and this is where we spent most time on during the hackathon, is the easy check command. So this does a bunch of verifications whether your ServVMFS configuration on the client makes sense. And this is where it gets really interesting because it can check a whole bunch of things for you by either talking to ServVMFS or running some commands, getting extended attributes from the man point, for example. So there's a couple of weird things in there that you, as a regular user, would not be able to easily figure out. It checks a bunch of things for you, how big your cache is, where it's located, how much of the cache is currently being used, how frequently it has been doing cache cleanups, which revision of the easy repository you are seeing, whether other repositories are available on the same system, which mirror servers you're talking to, whether you have any proxy servers. And here you can see I'm just running this locally on my laptop, so I don't have any proxy servers in use here. I'm talking directly to the public mirror servers that we have for easy. And here this is flagged as a warning because they don't have proxy servers as a single client. That's actually okay. But you can see where this goes. If you don't have any proxy servers and you're on a supercomputer, you will get this warning. And hopefully this tells the sysadmins that they have to do some homework to have an improved setup. So the check tool can both print warnings and print errors if something isn't working at all. In this case, it's a bit difficult to trigger errors in this environment, but I hope you get the idea. So this is the first step towards having a pretty versatile command line tool. We already have an implementation, and this is what I was setting up here. Let me see if I can do the live demo as well. So this is another virtual machine, which does not have easy available yet. So there's
Can you increase the font a bit?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a separate VM where there's no ServVMFS installed or configured yet. What I wanted to try here, let's see if I can actually get this to work. So here I'm using a separate branch, an open pull request, to add another command, an easy install command. And rather than showing you the recording here, let me try to do a live demo of this and see if that works. So I first need to install this thing. Let's see if that works. Let's see which version we get. Yeah, so that's version 2020. So that's from the pull request. This adds another subcommand, install. And this will actually do the installation of easy itself. So it will install and configure ServVMFS. Now, of course, for this, it needs sudo permissions. So it's an interactive tool. It will tell you what it's going to do and then ask you if you're happy to that it makes the changes for you. So in this case, ServMFS is not installed yet. So it's going to try and install this. It wants the sudo password. And if we give it that, it actually does everything that's necessary to install and configure ServMFS for us. And you can see that it's pretty well done. You can see the progress and which steps it's actually running. And in the end, I think this completes actually with an easy check command to show you that the whole thing worked as expected. Yeah, so that's installation of ServMFS is done. No easy configuration yet, so let's do that as well. This should be quick. This is system-wide, so it needs root. Then it wants to configure ServMFS as well, so how big the cache can be. All right, and then it completes the setup. So now we have ServMFS or software EasyIO available in here. It was not actually mounted yet, so it does the mount. And we can now also do easy check and see if everything was okay. I should have run easy check before I did the installation to show you, but you get the idea that this is yeah. So also for installing easy, it can actually help you quite a lot. It does all the homework for you rather than telling people to blindly copy paste what we have in here and then trust that everything will be fine. It can do it more interactively and actually check whether it actually needs to install ServMFS or whether that's maybe already done and what is still missing. So that's a bit more intelligent. We have some other ideas for this as well. So this is a HackMD document where we did some brainstorming. Easy init can be improved a lot compared to what it does now. Easy check is already there. Easy shell is also there. We have an easy search in mind as well, where you can not only look for software based on the module name, but also look for a binary name or the name of libraries or header files or other things. Python packages, for example. So if you do an easy search NumPy, it would tell you that NumPy is installed as an extension in SciPy bundle module. So it can be a very extensive search. And also something that a fuzzy search essentially. So if you have some typos in what you're searching for, it's still helpful. So a bit beyond what you can do with the modules tool. Maybe something for running commands in a subshell where easy is available. Help with building stuff on top of easy could perhaps also be useful. So this is sort of the equivalent of easy extend, but it will do easy extend for you. So you don't need to do this by hand. Running demos, running the easy test suite, maybe something that integrates with LLMs so you can have some kind of chat environment where you can ask questions about using easy or a particular software that you want to use, but you don't know how to find it. Information about specific software installations in easy or about your system. This could be easy. This could be useful for error reporting, for example, if we need some context on what type of system you're using easy on. This could be very helpful. And maybe also for making contributions to easy. So if somebody wants to open a pull request, it could first do some kind of check which dependencies are missing and then feed all that information into the pull request. So a bit similar to what we have for the easy build already for opening PRs. So there's probably other things you can imagine that could be possible through this CLI interface. So if people are interested, there's a repository for this, easy.cli, and you can see some ideas in here in the issues or known problems or things we're working on. This is not as moving as fast as it was during the hackathon, but we definitely plan to keep working on this and make it more capable. Yeah, that's what I had in mind to show off.
Thank you,
So
Kenneth. Yeah.
If there's any questions or ideas on additional things this thing could do, they're definitely welcome.
So
So
maybe I can start.
Sure.
So, for example, does it cover the host injection thing for the CUDA and the linking for the OpenMPI? Is that something that it will cover in the future, or?
Yeah, it doesn't cover it at all right now. It could
Mhm.
both easy check could also check on that aspect. So is the GPU driver exposed to easy or not? Is it up to date with what's on the system? So these are also additional checks we can implement under here. And maybe also for the new easy install thing, that could be something that could be added here. So to rather than telling people to run a script, that you have some kind of interactive helper tool that helps you to set up the exposure of the GPU drivers or check if it's up to date and actually do the update. So it could be a hand holding type of utility for that. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Anyone else has questions for Kenneth or any ideas further to improve this command line tool?
Maybe a question back to the people here. Does this seem worthwhile to pursue? Do you think this would help lowering the bar to entry and having a more friendly interface to easy? Or is this just, would we better spend our time in writing up better documentation and just pointing people there? What do you think?
In the case of Lumi, it will be confusing.
Confusing.
Because that
Why?
one will not have CVMFS.
Yeah, okay, that's true. So on systems where mount is done differently, actually, that's the current way that easy check works. It assumes that ServVMFS is used, but it can also be made aware of other ways of making easy available. Like on Lumi, for example, it will be through a Squash FS image that is mounted.
At the moment, not even an image mounted on the node, but an image mounted in a container.
Yes, yeah,
We'll
that's
get
true.
more information tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow we have a meeting with the sysadmins and ask them to present how they plan to provide EC.
Yeah, but the tool could be aware of this, and we also have an idea for these type of exports that you can do through a Squash FS image, for example, is that we specify a way to record which revision was exported into the image itself, and then this tool could again pick up on that if there's like some standard way of providing metadata for this. Yeah. So even there, this is also a use case we have in mind. Yeah, but good point. Yeah, Alan.
I really like the check because it's not really covered by our documentation so much because it's outside of what we do, right? All the CVFS stuff is beyond like what Easy is really doing, the core business of Easy. So this is really good because it gives people a shortcut, like for what to look out for, what should they fix, what's a problem. And now it's clear, like after looking at a few different sites, it's clear such a thing is important, right? Because people do things in ways you don't expect.
It's generally the way it is currently a check for any ServVMFS mount or repository. But we'll also expand this a bit more to make it more easy aware. So here, for example, in this test environment, it only picks up on 2 mirror servers, but there's already a third one. So if you're in a proper setup, you'll see that this has a third mirror server as well in the UK. So in that sense, this setup is out of date. It's not aware of one of the public mirror servers. So that should be another warning that it gives you, like your configuration is behind, you're missing a mirror server. So go check the documentation on how to fix this, or it could even give you guidelines on how to fix things. Yeah, Richard.
Could we also set it in a way that it could send a warning for sysadmins if the client cache limit is hit, or there is a new version of client installation, for example?
Yeah, well, what I imagine this will do in the end is that you could use this in monitoring. So you could run this, let's say, on an hourly basis, and it could indeed check if your cache is still big enough or if there's too many cleanups. And then if it sees any problem, that it does a non-zero exit code. And based on that, you have a pretty powerful monitoring check. You probably need a way to give it some kind of allow list of known issues that you're happy with, like maybe having a proxy server is not a real problem, or not having a proxy server is not a real problem. So you can imagine like a single proxy as an option here, that it says, okay, this is not actually problematic. But for any other issues it sees, it could do a non-zero exit code, and then you could actually use this in monitoring, for example. Yeah.
Probably also useful to have that output in a JSON or another
Yes.
parsable format. Though.
Yeah, machine readable format is another thing. Yeah. These are just options and different printing or dumping it to a file or whatever.
For the shell, I think maybe one thing that could be useful is to get a shell with a combining shell with search, so that someone can say, well, I want a shell with the GMX, so it automatically loads the module you need.
Yeah, something like this where you search for the binary and then you just tell it, or maybe action, shell, whatever. If you find a hit, of course, if you look for something like GMX, it's going to have a bunch of options. So then maybe you also need an option, or it needs a default that says just take the latest version of whatever provides this, drop me in a shell, or set up my environment, my current environment to then start using that software. Yeah. So you can then, once you start playing with this, lots of options and possibilities start popping up. But yeah, it will take time, of course, to implement those. Yeah, good ideas. Okay, yeah. If people want to play with this, you can already just pip install easy, and you'll get the current version that doesn't have the init the install subcommand yet. If you notice any problems with what's there, or especially if you have ideas for the check command, there's a dedicated issue for this in the EESSI CLI repository. So here, this is all the ideas that we have to improve the check command and what's already implemented, what other ideas we have. So anything beyond that, like the host injections, is definitely very relevant for this. Okay.
Any specific Python version is required, or it shouldn't?
Yeah, pretty modern. You need a Python 3.9 or newer. Is that actually in here? No, but it's in the HackMD. Because this relies on this typer tool to create modern command line tools. You need a more recent version than Python 3.9. And I think the very latest version of typer actually requires Python 3.10. Yeah. So you need a pretty recent Python for this. A good way to do this is with UV. So if you don't have a very recent, not ultraviolet, this UV tool makes it very easy to have a very recent Python version on basically any system. So if the system-wide Python is not good enough, you can self-install a more modern Python, and then it should be pretty easy to get the easy CLI thing going. Yeah. We can probably improve our installation instructions for this. But yeah, you need a recent enough Python. We try to not be very aggressive there, but a very old Python like 3.6 is not going to work.
So well, I tried it because I was on, I don't remember which system I was on. So it does work. It doesn't complain, unfortunately, right? So if you install the GitHub repository, it'll happily do something, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, then that's something we need to fix. Yeah, I guess in here we're not specifying. No, it does say it requires Python 3.9. So.
So I don't know. I didn't look into it too much. I just changed my Python version. It was on some system. I was on one of the HPC systems, and they only had 3.6, and then I found something else and just used that.
Okay. Yeah. Then open an issue. If it doesn't complain, it should really complain at install time that it's not a good enough Python. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Yeah. If people have any feedback, any ideas, you know where to find us, either here or in the EESSI Slack or through GitHub. That's all well.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So if anyone still is wondering if we should stop the recording, then ask the questions. So maybe I will share back my screen. So this was a session for today about Easy Command Line. Next week, we will be covering Easy on macOS. We already have in the documentation how to run Easy on Mac, but there is another way, and we will be presenting that next week. So for now, I will stop the recording in case anyone feels to share more informally.